Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Magnus and I work with VM Professional Solutions. In the course of this presentation or this webinar series, I'll tell you more about what we do at VM Professional Solutions. But most importantly, I am thrilled to welcome our giant panelists from within Nigeria and Dubai, precisely, to the Going Digital Nigeria webinar series. I would also like to thank all our attendees who are joining from far and near, those in Lagos, Ogun State, Ibadan, Abeokuta, Abuja, Dubai, UK, and all over the globe. We welcome you as we follow this webinar, and we thank you very much. We also have other people who will be following us on other platforms, Facebook and on YouTube as well. I also want to thank all my staff and colleagues at VM Professional Solutions. Thank you everyone for tuning in and joining on this fourth session of our 7-part weekly free webinar series on why, how to automate, digitize practically all business processes in different sectors to assist, most importantly, Nigerian businesses in achieving effectiveness and growth during and post COVID-19. As we all know, COVID-19 is here. It's changed the landscape, the playing field. It's disrupted every possible supply chain available in the world, and Nigeria is not also left out. One of our panelists who will be presenting later today has shared something, and I'm just trying to steal her thunder right now. And she's saying one of the best things you need to do is actually to start whatever changes you need to do today. So we want to welcome everyone, including our partner and co-founder, Vivian, for joining this webinar. And I would like to proceed by sharing my slide. We've taken the intro, it's 24th of June 2020. So some couple of house rules. All our attendees are to use the Q&A, the chat box, or our email address, which is clients@vi-m.com, to raise or ask any question that they want in connection to this webinar. And if they have any other question, they would need clarification. Chances are that with the giant panelists that we've been able to assemble today, we will be able to field those questions to the best of our ability. And if we can't, we will research on the best way to respond to the question and get back to such an individual. We will be monitoring all these avenues, so please feel free to use them, the Q&A, chat box, and email address. Or if you prefer to ask your question directly, if you would like to be heard, please use the raise your hand feature that is available on the Zoom platform. We will admit you at the appropriate time so that you can ask your question directly and possibly interact with the panelists of your choice. We encourage an interactive session today, and thus would like all attendees to post their names, businesses, and their service offering, for networking purposes. Please do this only on the chat box. So tell us who you are, what you do, where your business is located. Chances are that there's someone in this webinar today who's looking for a similar kind of service, and it's an opportunity for us to network. So let's get to know ourselves. So please feel free to use that. And importantly, at VM, we encourage collaboration more than competition. Feel free to use social media posts on issues, topics, or matters that catches your attention or your fancy as we speak. So if you hear something that speaks to you and you would like to tweet, share it on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, please feel free to do that. And in doing that, please remember to tag VM Professional Solutions. Please also tag Vivian. You could tag Titi Fowokan, you could tag Emmanuel Obi or Daniel De Souza. Or all of our panelists combined. And also please remember to tag me as well. And we are available, on, like I said earlier, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And when you do that, please use the hashtag Going Digital Nigeria. So I'll just take a few minutes to run you through who we are, what we do at VM, and just with the spirit of keeping to time. VM Professional Solution is a professional services firm. It's a vibrant firm made up of very young partners and individuals with diverse skills who've worked in various big four firms. But our role is basically to assist companies and individuals navigate, tax, audit, advisory, financial and business challenges, and more importantly, people's services needs mostly through the use of digital technology, as you will see in the course of this webinar session today. We are a firm of many firsts. We are the first firm in Nigeria to partner with the Federal Inland Revenue Service to write and publish tax technical articles in national newspapers for the education of taxpayers in Nigeria. We're also the first to partner with the Lagos Catholic Archdiocese to train MSMEs in the Catholic Church on, how to navigate their tax challenges, structure their business, achieve certain milestones and growth in their various businesses. We're also the first firm to produce the tax law app in Nigeria, and it's a compendium of the relevant tax laws in a mobile form. It's available on iOS and Android. It gives you access, to view the relevant tax laws on the go. You can read. I remember when I joined one of the big four firms some couple of years ago, one of my, and Fowokan can also relate to this, one of the gifts you get is a binded big Bible, which is the tax law. These days, everything in that binded big book is now in the tax app. We also partner with a number of ERP and accounting firms, and one of our partners today is Oracle NetSuite. And we're here to assist and show and support business, put certain digital tools in place to get them doing well. We've got VM Talent Assist, which is our people software designed to assist talents and employers from recruiting to payroll processing and to exit management. So we encourage viewers to look this up on our website. And this and several other initiatives that we do periodic trainings, we do conferences, seminars, webinars, that's not included on the slide. But you want to learn more about VM Professional Solutions, we encourage you to go to www.vi-m.com. So today, in our Going Digital series, we will be taking the topic, Going Digital Enterprise Businesses. And this is specifically for large businesses. Small businesses are welcome to listen because they can get tips and tricks of some things they can do to grow their business from small business to medium and large business as it were. So we'll be focusing on going digital enterprise business for large businesses generally and wholesalers with extensive supply chain. And basically, we've heard things along the lines, what does supply chain means? What does it entail? Basically, supply chain is a system in place in an organization which manages people, activities, information, resources, which are involved in supplying the product or services to the end user. The end user in this instance may be your retailer. The end user in this instance may be that guy in the market who relies on your product to sell to a consumer. But the operating word here is that it gets to the end user. So we've got a brief overview of our panel. So we've got Titilayo from Dangote, and we've got Emmanuel from NetSuite, and Daniel D'Souza is also joining us from NetSuite. So guys, just say brief hello to our audience, then I'll read the profile for the first presenter and we'll get the show on the road. Titilayo, you want to say hello to our audience first?
Hello everyone. You're welcome.
Hi everyone.
Hi everyone. Nice seeing you.
Welcome to the panel and welcome to the webinar.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Daniel? Unmute yourself, Daniel.
Hi everyone, it's great to be part of this webinar wherein we'll contribute more towards how Nigeria can go digital for the enterprise businesses using NetSuite.
And I would also like to ask Vivian, our partner and co-founder at VM. She founded this firm. I'm just an appendage as it were. So Vivian, do you want to say hello to our audience and panelists? Hello, Vivian.
Welcome, everyone. We are very happy that you're here. All our professional colleagues. Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
We can.
Hello. Okay. I was welcoming everyone, and we're saying that we truly appreciate your being here, for the support of our panelists, for your time, for our attendees, for our professional colleagues at CITN, at Suite. Thank you so much for being here, and we do hope that we're going to give you the value that you sought when you signed up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vivian. Thank you, my giant panelists. I'm very thrilled. I'm very excited. It's an honor for me to host you and moderate this session. I'm hoping that our attendees will help us make this interactive by ensuring they ask us very relevant and tough questions, mind you, so that we can also test our ability to try and field those questions. So without much ado, I would like to introduce our first panelist today, and is in person of Daniel D'Souza. Daniel is the Senior Solution Consultant Pre-Sales for Oracle NetSuite. Daniel has about 9 years plus of professional SAS, is software as a service, pre-sales experience in major IT service and consulting firms. At Oracle NetSuite, he provides support to the sales team by performing pre-sales activities to identify and manage opportunities from the technological and functional side to grow relationships with both new and existing clients. His main responsibility is to align NetSuite value to the end users through a consultative proof of value concept approach. He works with new prospects and customers across East, Central Europe, Middle East, and Africa with a focus to increasing Oracle NetSuite market share, and has successfully added many new customers in this region. He will be making presentations. He makes presentations and demonstrations to articulate Oracle product strengths, features, benefits, and competitive advantages, which are core of his role at Oracle NetSuite. His industry experience or expertise focus areas covers professional services, projects, non-profit, social enterprises, wholesale distribution organizations, manufacturing firms, retail sectors, and other industries in automating their business requirements. In today's webinar, Daniel will be discussing how digital tools have helped large businesses, and he'll be conducting an executive demo of NetSuite solution for large business, share some tips, some tricks, and customer testimony. He's also going to highlight advantages for businesses, manufacturing firms, wholesalers with significant supply chain using digital tools and automating their business. So Daniel, we're very excited to have you at today's webinar. We would like to get the show on the road. So by way of making it interactive, why would you, as a pre-sales person, recommend that people should use Oracle NetSuite for their large business? So with that, I would like you to take it off and then, take us to the promised land, as it were.
Okay, so I'll just quickly start sharing my screen. Yep, so Magnum, if you can just make me the host so that I can share my screen.
Okay, 1 second. I think you've got sharing rights. Give me a second, please. Okay, stop sharing. Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So what I'll do is I'll answer the host of questions you asked me in the quick presentation you had on why the Nigerian businesses, when they are going to go and like digital, what is the key things they have to keep in mind, and how our solution adds value to their businesses across the domains, right? But today, for the audience, we'll be focusing more on the wholesalers, right, and how their supply chains can be managed. So thanks, Magnus. You gave a quick brief of me, so I'll skip that part and just directly focus on the key challenges which I encounter on a day-to-day basis when I speak with the customers. So what I see is the customers having a lot of silos information. So like they have the different applications which they have for the managing operations. It can be for the CRM, for the sales, for the purchase, for the inventory, for the financials. There's a host of silos applications. One of the key things is the business visibility for the top management. There is no insights. The procurement process is broken because there is no insights into what is the inventory they hold across the different locations. It can be across a specific location in the country they operate, or it can be a global presence for the company. So it has to be a global visibility across the different locations. And moreover, as a CFO, as a CEO, you might want to have an entire 360 per se of the business. What are my key KPIs? That are some of the key issues or the key business challenges which the customer encounters. And moreover, the localization, the taxation, and the consolidation is always a pain challenge. Now, what we do is we offer a solution which is very much global in nature, as well as it can be accommodated in a local environment. So we have so many customers across Africa, in the Middle East and Eastern Europe, Africa, and even Europe, who are leveraging our solution. So the customer count, you see 20,000 plus customers, it's going on increasing rapidly year on year. We are adding new logos to the system and to the R install base. And Oracle NetSuite, as you know, is a prime solution for most of the SMEs and in the enterprise customer space. Why? One, probably being the ease of the use. Two, probably would be the quick adoption, and it's born on cloud, right? So the customers have much more influence or inclination towards our solution in that sense. We are a global solution, as I mentioned, a lot of customers worldwide. So in order, like, just to put a number, we are 20,000 plus customers across the different domains. If you see, we are across in manufacturing, wholesale distribution, the non-profit services, software, name it, we are there present. So just for the today's webinar, I brought in a key customer story from Africa. It is called Bramhope Group. So they are present in 18 African countries, and they were facing challenges on the supply chain per se, because they have a lot of SKUs, 50,000 plus products, which they provide to 100 of companies in Africa. And for them, having an integrated supply chain was of the key issue, and also scalability and flexibility, because they were always using the silos application. That's where we came into the picture, and we offered a solution which was scalable, flexible, and also help them to streamline the business operations. And moreover, capture the multiple languages issue, multi-currency issue, multi-tax compliance, right? So we, since we are on a kind of a cloud-based solution, we were able to reduce the cost and increase the efficiency. One thing which I want to highlight is our solution helps employees focus on the productive activities, or probably you can say innovative activities. So the system helps to reduce the downtime or the turnaround time towards customers or towards the different supply chain activities. And we have over here the managing director of the Bramhope, who has shared his success story, and he's a very proud customer for us in the African market. So what do we offer? I can say we offer a plateau of solutions. First and foremost, I would like to again emphasize, we are up against our competition, a top-notch solution when it comes to the cloud. We are built on cloud. We offer multi-tenant structures to our customers. And moreover, our backend runs on Oracle stack. It's made to run a business across the different business functions. So it can be financial, supply chain, the professional services, even the e-commerce part, we manage to have it integrated inside of our solution. That's the beauty of our solution. We offer CRM, we offer the localized HR solution, which is driven by the partners. And moreover, one interesting thing which I want to highlight over here, Magnus, to our audience, is about the Suite app. We have more than 3,000 plus Suite apps which we offer, and those are built by our partners, which help them to expand their landscape for the solutions. So we might have certain operational solution requirements for the different industries. The partners have built those, and they can use it as a kind of a marketplace solution. And moreover, we are looking into the future. One step into the future is where we are focusing as a solution on the AI, machine learning, suite analytics, and those predictive analytics, right? That is the key going forward. So it is basically on the intelligent suite analytics, which we are moving towards the future. Now, the customers I have encountered, since they were using a different siloed applications, a solution offers a key value proposition in being a unified data source, right? It's a single database offering to you all the business functions, whether it's from your CRM, of your procurement, of your inventory, of your sales, marketing, or your projects, or your distribution, or your manufacturing. Every bit is captured in the same data source. And moreover, you have a dedicated roles which help the users to perform their key tasks. And you have those KPIs notifications, which will help you to reduce the turnaround time. Scalability, I'll touch base in a bit. Another value proposition for our audience is, I have seen a lot of customer challenges pertaining to the upgrades. Customers are blocked in the upgrades, right? So we offer our customers 2 free upgrades each year. That's another USP. So in those upgrades, you get the latest, best features as part of NetSuite, and it's free. It doesn't cost. So what you're getting is a value in terms of cost and in terms of solution as well. You are there to compete in the market with the best of the B-rate features which we have. And security, yes, it's very much top-notch. As you can see, the various certifications, Oracle is very much renowned for the security and the privacy. 300 plus reports from the day one. That's the beauty, another value proposition. And moreover, since we are a cloud solution and a native one, you have the Android and the Apple iOS. This is very much. So in the uncertain times like this, wherein we are all stuck at home due to COVID, right? So the customers and the businesses are stuck where they don't have an application which will give them remote access or a kind of application which will help them to continue working from home. And most of the customers are lost at this stage. So that's where we come in. We provide a value of being a real cloud solution. All they require is just an internet connection and a browser, and they're good to go. It's just like using a Facebook, right? So you just plug in those username and password, and you have those real-time KPIs, as you can see on the screen. Another value, if you ask me, is the platform, which is another interesting thing. Most of our customers, they are very techy in nature. They want to flex the application. Yes, you can do that. So you can connect it to the third-party applications. But any system which has an open API, you can connect them using Suite Connect, Suite Talk. You can create your own workflows. So for your quotations, for your sales, for your purchase, workflows are very key, wherein the business executives are required to have a threshold, and they need to check what are the kind of transactions which needs their approval. So it can be beautifully designed like an approval workflows. And the interest and the key element over here is why we are able to do that is because we are very much process driven. We have a standard process in place, which we focus on the customers. So saying, Mr. Customer, we have a standard process. How are you currently doing the process? And the Mr. Customer generally highlights his challenge that he has a broken process. So when we demonstrate our process capabilities and end-to-end, he is wowed because he likes the solution with all those approvals, with those reminders, and creating those simple order to cash in a very systematic manner. That creates those value for our customers using our solution. Moreover, we take a customer on a journey. We don't bombard them with all the solution all at once. What we do is we help them establish the business with the key components of the solution and help them elevate and expand. So a customer is a key for us. The customer is the king in our case. The customer drives the stairway approach. So he wants the key features, like in case of a wholesale distribution, it will be to have an operational financials, CRM, inventory management solution at the very start. Then he goes one step up to automate his warehouse. So we have the mobile WMS, wherein it can automate entire warehousing requirements. And then one step further would be the quality requirements or supply chain intelligent orchestration. Yes, we can do that, right? So it's all about building the customer's market share and flexing his muscles and accelerating his domination in the different space or geography, you may say. And for that, we do the value chain assessment. We have to be very realistic. The customer might have his demands. He might want the sky, but we have to take them on a journey. So we have to map the customer's existing process, show him where he stands and how NetSuite will transform his business. So using this value chain assessment, we take the customers to the right stairway approach and help them to achieve what is required for them. So in short, it's all about reimagining the experience. It's all about insights, right? It's all about the optimizing the sales and the purchase transactions. So let me just quickly jump into a live demonstration, Magnus, if you may allow me another 5 minutes or so, wherein I'll just walk through to our customers who are online now, how easy it is to use our system and what is the value proposition of. So as I mentioned, it's a role-based system. You have a different roles. You have the CEO role, CFO role, as I was mentioning in my PowerPoint. So in the CEO role, when I log in, I can see this beautiful dashboard at the very start. So as a CEO, when I start my day, I can see what are the key reminders for me. What are the key KPIs I have to analyze, right? So I can see what is the current versus previous trends, and my system projects this on a real-time basis. You don't have to depend at the day end or a month end to pull this real-time metrics, right? So the system, as and when the key business users are entering the transactions, you can see the KPIs. You can drill down, you can pull up the trend graphs, all real-time basis. And that's the beauty of using NetSuite. So those trend graphs are actually dynamic. You can download it and add to the management presentation. And you have the KPI meters, right? So the KPI meters, again, they help you to analyze certain key elements like the revenue, the expenses, whether it's approaching or breaching your thresholds, right? You have this nice KPIs over here. You have this nice trend graphs. So there are a lot of numbers, right? But the numbers has to make a lot of sense. And that's why you have the sales trend graphs to help you to analyze what those numbers mean to you. You can take a corrective action. You can take informed business decision using this trend graphs. So this trend graphs can be across the business functions. It can be on your sales, revenues, on your expenses, on your CRM, name it, you have it. You also have this nice, beautiful financial overview for the finance people out there in the webinar today. One of the key elements is how can I get my financial overviews or the financial key indicators, whether it's on the gross profit, EBITDA, net income, again on a real-time basis. The system does that. So you are able to see a month-on-month, a quarter-on-quarter, or a year-on-year projections of your financials. And you can even do a kind of a trend graph, again over here on the profit. So to understand how is the profit impacted by the different months, right? So for the finance people, again, it's all about cash, right? Cash management. Yes, you do have the best of the breed cash management solution wherein you can track for the upcoming 12 weeks, what is your AR due, your AP owed, what is your net cash positions, right? At this stage, you can do your bank reconciliation, right? What is interesting is what we offer is the personalization tools to each of the users. So what they can do is they can personalize the screen to the level they want to. So they can add in a calendar, they can add in a kind of search KPI meter, and it's flexible. The system can be tweaked by the end users if given the right access, right? Now, let me quickly go into a kind of a procurement role. So to understand how the roles help to analyze those key elements or the KPIs. So when I change my role and go into a purchasing manager role, what I see is the insights are completely different from a CEO. I see more on my inventory, on my purchases. So I can see which are the purchase requests to be approved, which are the items to be ordered. What are my key elements or the KPIs per se of my inventory? How's my inventory valuation? How many new orders I have? Is my business impacted due to the current uncertainty? Yes, it might be because you see, or it can be suddenly grown due to the digital demand or your e-commerce requirements, right? So you have optimized a solution, you have added an e-commerce, and you see your orders have increased in the current uncertainty. You have got new customers, you have got increased sales, right? So you can analyze it easily. And moreover, you can see your weekly trends, you can see your inventory list, right? You have a nice view of your item 360 as well. So when I say item 360, you can see this is item master, you tag it to a specific region, right? You can see the inventory costing over here, the valuation, you can see the locations. So the inventory locations across the country you operate in, what are the quantity I have on hand? What is the valuation? What is the quantity I have for the reorder? So the system is smart enough. When the item reaches or breaches the reorder point, the system alerts you and you raise in your procurement. You can also define your sales pricing, right? Moreover, if I go back and tell you one final bit, which is very interesting, and this is what I like to call as a customer 360. It fascinates for the even the very audience which we speak to on a daily basis, how easy it is to see the customer 360, right? So when I open up a customer master record, in this case, I can see all the communications I have done with the customer, if there are any attachments, if there are any activities, what is the financials, what is the terms of payment with the customer, what is the credit limit I have set, what is the balance, right? What are the currencies I have operated? All the transactions, all the relationships, all the sales information can be easily collected over here in just a single screen. And you have the customer 360 view, which gives a complete insights on what is happening with the customer. So that was it, Magnus. Just a quick, brief insight on the application.
Thank you so much, Daniel. And I hope that our audience did or attendees did follow through. I trust you will make those slides available to us because at the end of the day, we need to put some form of documentations in place that we can share with the attendees. A few of them have already raised that questions comment privately because there are one or two things they may want to also pick up from your slides. But more importantly is the fact that you've mentioned that some major key challenges that business faces that they've got pockets of silos of various applications running, and that with the adoption of some form of digital tool like that of Oracle NetSuite, they're able to bring all the relevant silos together under one view, which then gives the key decision makers in the business an oversight to be able to view the relevant indices or parameters that would enable them make informed decisions that the business needs to give. And other comments I've heard from your presentation today, is the fact that Oracle has huge customer base, as we can see with the various logos of existing customers that you have, and with the customer testimony of a business in Africa that you've also shared. And the solution comes with scalable function, it's flexible, it's got huge business intelligence, which is like your ability to prepare various kinds of reports for different departments, because the report that the MD or the chairman sees is not the report that the finance manager needs to look at, nor the marketing manager. So different departmental heads, different people in different organizations require different reports to be able to do their work. And with your solution, people are able to sit in various locations and in the comfort of their homes to be able to interact with the software, interact with the business, and generally make right decision. Above all, in summary, from my perspective, it's a smart system. And I know people might be itching to ask a couple of questions, what it will cost. I'm hoping that somewhere along the line, Emmanuel will be able to shed some light. I see him laughing now as to a cost perspective, because he comes from a sales background. Yours is to talk about the advantages, which you've correctly delivered. But at the end of the day, please do share your slides. So thank you very much. I want you to still stay behind so that if there are questions you need to fill, which I think is still popping in. I can see our chat box have an icon. But to keep it going, I would quickly like to bring in Dr. Mrs. Titilayo Fowokan, to address attendees and fellow panelists. It's my distinguished pleasure and honor to be reading out the recital for Dr. Mrs. Fowokan, who presently oversees the tax affairs of all Dangote entities. At the moment, she's the group head, strategic tax and compliance for Dangote Industries Limited. But she also has responsibility to look after, all tax affairs for the Dangote group or entities. She's also involved in facilitating and organizing training sessions, delivering papers on selected topics, selected topics on taxations, accounting, fraud examinations, and controls. She's widely read. She's got a master's degree in international business law from the UK, a PhD in accounting with specialization in taxation from the British West Indies. She is one of the few Nigerians who have worked in 2 of the big 4 firms of PwC and Deloitte. She left Deloitte to join Oando, and she's currently with Dangote Industries. So as you've seen from her career progression, she's worked in the practice and now she's in the industry. So she's got insight into how it's done, the role that advisors or consultants gives to business. She's now, the one actually executing those advice for these big entities. Dr. Titilayo is a well-decorated professional with national and international certifications, positions, and fellowships, including ICANN, Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, the Association of Forensic Accounting Researchers. She's a certified tax practitioner with over 26 years of professional experience in tax audit and advisory and accounting related fields. Her industry experience covers financial services, oil and gas, manufacturing, service industry. In today's webinar, Madam Fowokan, like I like to call her, will be highlighting, how enterprise business, in particular manufacturers and wholesalers with significant supply chains are navigating the pandemic, the importance of technology, and how digitization has helped ease the present concerns based on her wealth of experience and exposure. So the attendees, fellow colleagues, distinguished panelists, please join me in welcoming Madam Dr. Mrs. Titilayo Fowokan. Madam, it's a pleasure to have you join us today. As it were, you've worked on 2 sides of the divide, and on both divides, you've worked in 2 of the big organizations. So you've worked in the practice, you've worked in the industry, and you've worked with 2 of the big ones, basically. In your view, how has the organization been able to keep operating in the face of the pandemic? While you tend to start off this question, I know you've shared your slides with me. I will try and project it now for our audience to view. But you can go on with trying to share insight as to how your business have been able to, keep operating in the face of the pandemic.
Thank you very much, Magnus. Welcome everybody to this webinar. As I would like to say that the pandemic has become a new normal. It's something that we did not plan before, but it has happened and we have to live with it. So it was a bit, it's not that easy to just get back into business, having to be shut down for some time, but we end up being able to survive it. Our supply chain, we have to maximize the use of technology. I will take you through my slides and discuss what the benefits we've gotten. I think we've heard a lot from the Oracle team on how IT technology can be used. So I will just be talking about what do we stand to gain when we get the technology right, and why we even need to go digital in our business endeavors. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic is actually a global disorder. We've never foreseen it, but it has crossed our borders and we have to live with it. If we look at the current trend of everything in global environment, it becomes now, I call it the new normal way of doing things. Enterprises, businesses, manufacturers, wholesalers, especially those that have significant supply chain, now have to navigate the pandemic in the new normal way, like we call it. Now, the use of technology and digitalization is also the new order of doing things. With the advent of contactless transactions, maintaining social distancing, so you have to leverage more on the IT world. Meeting customers' needs, that's the soul of a business, of any business, and is paramount to the manufacturing sector. This is to ensure that we continue to exist and we have a sustainable business. So is it a test that has happened is during the period we had to operate because we're in the food business. And it was not that easy because our supply chain also is affected by the shutdown. The ports were shut down, movement was affected, but we're able to navigate. Now, I want to take quotes from Vigil, which says that they are able because they think they are able. And I think that's the spirit of surviving and navigating the COVID-19 pandemic with what it comes with. And also for Conflictus, it says, it does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. So we've actually started before the pandemic, we were going into IT. We had our business continuity plan that we have, which helped us to be able to switch over when the problems start. So these quotes that I've just said is actually relevant to what we're saying because the businesses have experienced the outbreak, and technology has to be given that wide accolade of transforming the supply chain management in the manufacturing sector, because that's the only way we can actually survive what the pandemic brings with itself. It's also calls for businesses to pull the trigger of business continuity management, because once you have to stop, for instance, we were down for more than a month, and we have to ensure that the physical business environment does not become something that is debarring us from making our business move. So we had to do that with minimal disruption. We're able to switch from being physically in the office to relying more on the IT, more of online discussions, online approvals. We triggered all those aspects of our business. The success of manufacturing business lies in the effectiveness of its supply chain management, and more so, minimal disruption. That's critical because our customers cannot be seen not to get the products when they need to have it. Now, with social distancing and contactless sales delivery coming to the forefront, we had to also leverage more on the value of technology and digitalization, which cannot be underestimated. Now, let me talk a bit about supply chain management and technology. Well, seamless and swift connection of the supply chain stakeholders is top priority during this pandemic. We don't have excuse, and our stakeholders starts from we manufacturers to the suppliers that gives us the raw material to our wholesalers to our distributors to even our shippers and even the government. They are part of the supply chain that we have. So it's a very vital area for us, and we have to ensure that this is so till the product gets to the doorstep of the customer, we must ensure that there's no stop, there's no bottleneck in getting our customers what they want. The pandemic also resulted in increasing emphasis on technological advancements, as well as changes in customer expectations. A lot of customers are afraid to go out, so they have to order online. And that means our distributors, our wholesalers must have the product. We're now in the world of e-commerce. M-commerce is our mobile transactions is our top tier to make orders. So if we have customers making orders, our suppliers and distributors should be able to get there right on time and deliver even to their doorstep. So we must make sure that that product is available for them. Now, also talk a bit about supply chain management and technology, and how we have been able to also manage that. To build a substantial customer base, manufacturing companies have to move towards digitalization of the business process. This business process is coupled with maintaining value addition to the customers. We cannot go down in our value addition because there's pandemic. There's no excuse for that. So we had to go do a lot on the digitalization angle, and the manufacturing process is built around the digital environment such that the controls, the processes are in place. We can be able to make our orders, we can be able to make the production cycle to flow and still be able to deliver onto the end users. With the technology advancements, manufacturing concerns have to build end-to-end supply chain solutions, which we're able to do with what we have and reduce as much bottlenecks as possible. I'm very happy that we've heard from the Oracle team of what technology can do in managing the supply chain. Now, though technology makes supply chain management work as easy as possible with the click of a link or pressing of a button, it has its cost implications. And that is why investment appraisal has to be well defined so that you can maximize the value coming from whatever technology is deployed for supply chain management. So it's critical at this point that that is done. Now, with respect to inventory management, because it's also critical to our manufacturing business, the inventory management and controls have to be top notch at this time and going forward. The pandemic has changed a lot of things. So we have to make sure that our ERP is able to manage this, and then make sure that we have a just-in-time procurement to mitigate any failure in meeting the customer's needs, because they need to be happy. Now, in spite of all the benefits of technology and digitization for inventory management, there are challenges with government agencies. For instance, if you have problem with the port, custom clearance, these are things that also comes to play. So you can't talk about your supply chain without considering the stakeholders, and government is also a major stakeholder. So things like bottlenecks like that will happen, but we have to navigate through this. Now, control over production is enhanced by the use of technology. There's increased visibility, there's better accountability. Like we heard earlier from the Oracle team, from looking at the whole cycle, you can actually know where there's a problem and be able to see the issues flagged. So that's where technology has been able to help. With the use of technology, transparency in manufacturing process is enhanced, such as production yield measurements and things like that. Potential problems are identified seamlessly. Let me also talk about digital transformation in supply chain management. Now, there needs to be this culture of digitalization across the whole chain and employees and everybody. So it is necessary that that culture of digitalization of the supply chain and even other processes in the company, we can't see each other physically, but we should be able to communicate. Business must not stop. We want to file tax returns. We are not seeing the FIRS team, but we want to submit returns. The state authorities, and there are lots of palliatives that were coming up. So everybody wants to take advantage. There's palliative, there's tax waiver, there's this. So we have to do this online, and that is because of the availability of the of internet access. So we leverage this on this. Now, digital transformation in supply chain management aligns with Peter Drucker's posit, and it says, you can't manage what you don't measure. And with the recent advancement in the use of technology as the COVID-19 pandemic increased, I can say that we could extend this saying to say, You can't even measure what you don't see. And when you have your supply chain management within the press of a button, you can actually see everything as it flows. So this is what transparency means in the supply chain management for the manufacturing setup. Now, the digitalization of manufacturing supply chain management at this time of the pandemic and even beyond is very, very important. We have the new normal. It becomes part of the way of life and is the sine qua non to business continuity and sustainability. Permit me to just wrap up by saying that with all this COVID-19 pandemic, if we must take anything away from this webinar, it is that the secret of getting ahead is getting started. And that's by Mark Twain. And I want to say that COVID-19 pandemic has proven this to all of us. Thank you very much. So Magnus, over to you.
So I was saying, I feel like giving you a round of applause. That's so straight to the point. That's so very brief and direct. And basically some of the salient points I've picked out from your high-level, brief, direct, and succinct presentation is that it's important that firms maximize the use of technology now more than ever. So if organizations, be you very large, medium, or small business, it is very important that you begin to embrace technology right now. Also, you did say something along the lines of in your organization, even though you said it subtly, you guys use technology, as the new order of doing things. So many areas of your business have now been digitized and structured to give visibility to all the relevant key decision makers, as said earlier. Barring other comments you said, you did say something along the lines that seamless connections of all the supply chains. So supply chain now, from the definition I gave earlier, also did not include, government as stakeholders or stakeholders as it were. But from your insights and comments, it is important that organizations need to sit down and look at the full chain, who comes in contact with their business process or business operations. Whether it's third party, second party, or first party, there has to be, seamless interactions and engagement. Because chances are, if they are not carried along, they may disrupt the flow of things, which has an adverse effect or negative effect for your business. So seamless connection of all supply chains, inclusive of the government being a key stakeholder for business, needs to be done. So there has to be constant interactions and engagement. More importantly is the fact that organizations need to begin to have what is called a business continuity plan. So one of the things the pandemic has touched about, which you rightly mentioned, is you guys did not just wait for the pandemic. There is a business continuity plan immediately. As soon as the pandemic hits, you just sort of switch to your business continuity. So most large organizations are encouraged to have that if they don't already have it. And if they do, there is need to constantly visit, remodify. Are they adapting to technology? What if there is a second wave, third wave, or fourth wave? What will businesses be doing? And finally, you talked about other sectors of business. You talked about inventory management and production, and you did mention that transparency is very, very key for all aspects of business. Madam, I really want to thank you so much for your presentation. It's insightful, it's powerful. Emmanuel, we'll come to you shortly. I think I have 2 questions here. I would like to fill those questions out so that we can clear our chat box. And the first question here is, what is the capital base of a business that can use this software? Can small businesses use it? I think that question will be addressed obviously by you, but I will bring Daniel back to the fore if Daniel can shed some insight. So Rita is asking, what is the capital base of a business that can use this software? And its full-on question is, can small business use it? Do you want to give us insight, please?
Yeah, sure. On that question, it's a very easy answer. NetSuite as a solution can scale up easily from small, medium enterprise to big enterprises. So if you're talking of a user base, which is like close to 10, 100, yes, we can support them. If you're talking of a big enterprises supporting a user base of 1,000 or 2,000 users, yes, we support them as well. So it varies what kind of industries we are talking of, what is the kind of user base that we're talking of, and that's what can fit the bill on both the segments. Emmanuel, if you want to add anything on that.
Oh, sorry, Emmanuel, I just want to ask something else into that. So do you determine the size of the business based on the business complexity or the number of employees or transactions?
So we take it as a combination of both. So we take it in terms of what industries the customer generally want the digital transformation in. So it is a kind of combination of both. And what is the NetSuite go-to-market in terms of the rich KPIs and the industry learnings which we have. It can be better used in which of the verticals. Probably it's wholesale distribution or the products like the manufacturing services, a wholesale. And we do have a micro vertical footprint as well. So when we evaluate the customers on the micro vertical segments, we can have a better gauge of what are the user base we can cater to those in that vertical segments.
Okay, so another question from Abdul Hakim Oyeni. He's saying, I want to ask on the Oracle NetSuite if there is a field for the auditors to oversee or overview all the activities being carried out in the organization. So is there an auditor field that is available on your platform?
I'll answer that question in two parts. NetSuite as a solution is very much compliant with the GRC. So when we say GRC, it's more on the governance, risk, and compliance, right? So we are very much compliant with that. And second part is on the audit trail. So since it is a real-time cloud-based solution, you can track each and every user footprint inside of the solution. What are the transactions they are doing, what they have created, edited, deleted, or even viewed. So you have a footprint of the entire audit trail across the transactions. And that can be used as a logs to keep it track, whether the employees are productive in that sense, what changes they are trying to do. And that can have an user for auditors where they can view this audit trails and capture those transaction logs probably for them, right? What is required as per the auditors.
Okay, Emmanuel, do you have any additions you want to give to any of the questions? You're on mute.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Daniel, for taking up our questions. But actually, you mentioned thousands and hundreds. You can actually do one license. You can license a company with one user. That's how low we can go, and that's how far that we suppose the SMEs. So if you're a one-man business and you want to have a handhold on your financials, for instance, we can license one user on the platform.
Okay, I'll just put a caveat to that from a marketing perspective. If you are a small business or a medium-sized business or a one-man business, as Emmanuel has put it, and you're looking at adopting the Oracle solution, please talk to us at VM. We will work with you with that customer journey to help you implement the Oracle. So the last question I have before I bring Emmanuel up to share his views on the topic of the day is, and I think Madam Fowokan, I'll be drawing your attention on this as well, and you and I can collaborate to shed more insight into this. And the question is from Abdul Hakim Oyeni again. He's saying the introduction of technology has been a tremendous improvement in the work environment now. But another problem about the technology is that not everyone is computer oriented or literate. I just added the word literate. How do you help to address this? Another is there will be more of unemployment because more people will be laid off. Madam, do you want to go first?
Okay, thank you, Magnus. I think when I saw the question, I was more like, this is a right question for this. The challenge we have, and that is what I've always told people. In my presentation, I said, we now have the new normal. Quite a lot of people are caught by unawares. And that is why I always advocate that people should do a lot of self-development as they see the opportunity. For people that are just trying to get into that learning now, it will be a tough one for them. So it's a reality that has come upon everybody, but it's never too late to do something about it. Now, the issue of layoff of staff now depends on the organization. Some organizations have been able to manage this aspect. For those who do not have access, thank God for the ease of the lockdown. They've actually looked at the staff profile, those that can work at home, those that have to be physically in the office, so they can manage the productivity of this staff during this period. But it's a reality. I must admit that it's a reality, but it's not telling everybody that for those who are waiting for the employers to train them is a mistake. They've got to do a lot to see what they can do to add value to themselves, so that even if anything will happen, they will not be met by surprise. It is a reality that we can't do anything about, but I think most employers are trying to avoid that layoff angle to see what they can do within the little opportunity that those staff have. But I think a lot of people should do self-development. They shouldn't wait for the employers.
I agree with you 101%. That's actually my top flow. And the only thing I wanted to just add in for Abdulhakeem Oyeni is you need to keep track of this Going Digital webinar series. On the 8th of July, we will be having a topic which is Going Digital Human Resources. Issues along that line will also be looked at. You know, loss of employment, how do you manage, how do you communicate? But like Dr. Fowokan rightly pointed out, it is very important for employees to continue to skill themselves up. You can't sit down because the old ways of doing things have now been swallowed by COVID-19, and everybody's embracing a new thing. So you need to ask yourself, what is the requirement for the next position, and work towards it. Chances are that as you work towards it, you will even acquire the relevant skill, more skill than is needed for that position, and you're actually preparing yourself ahead of any future positions that arise from your organization. Thank you so much, Abdulhakeem, Rita. We encourage our attendees to continue to post in their questions. Let's keep it interactive. I would love for people to also to be admitted to ask the questions directly, so that it's not only my voice and the voice of the panelists that we hear on this webinar series. But with that, I would now like to bring in Emmanuel Obi to share his views. If you just give me a minute so that I can share my slides, so that I can read out. 1 second, stop share. Emmanuel has 15 years IT-related experience in the Nigerian market. He is a technology enthusiast on enterprise software solutions, where he has consistently improved business processes and overall business growth and profitability. Just like Madam Fowokan as well, he is one of the few people who have worked in HP, IBM, Microsoft, and now Oracle. You see that these are very big technology and software brands, global firms to be precise. He focuses on cloud technology solutions, enabling organizations to go through their digital transformation journeys using cloud solution offerings. He is responsible for introducing Oracle NetSuite to the West Africa region, Nigeria inclusive, and adding new logos to the NetSuite business. So the logo that you see that Daniel had shared earlier, Emmanuel has responsibility to continue to increase those number of logos for NetSuite. He also manages the relationship between NetSuite partners and customers for a successful implementation of Oracle NetSuite solution, which is also key. In his discussion today, Emmanuel will walk us through how Oracle NetSuite solution has assisted businesses, manufacturers, and wholesalers with significant supply chain in navigating the pandemic, how to achieve end-to-end automation, deployment and integration for effectiveness, amongst others, and how the NetSuite solution works, and how it can ease the peculiar challenges of these industries and business. Please join me in welcoming Emmanuel to this webinar presentation today. So Emmanuel, you already have your share rights. If you have your presentation, I'm happy for you to share. So I'll just stop sharing now.
But before you start, Magnus, is it possible that you do a poll? Is it possible?
Okay, so while you're presenting, I can conduct the poll once I complete it.
I wanted to know how many people have heard of NetSuite before today.
Okay, thanks. I'll scribble that down and I'll get to that details in the poll.
Okay.
All right. So I mean, you've seen the presentation from Daniel today. executive summary. I know an Oracle solution should take a minimum of about an hour, 30 minutes, if not to 2 hours, to do a proper demo. But from the high-level demo, from the discussions and interactions we've had with Dr. Fowokan as the questions so far, I mean, you get a sense that even some small organizations want to use this solution. So from your perspective, what does it cost? What does it entail for a large business, a medium-sized business, to acquire an Oracle solution?
Thank you, Magnus, and thank you, fellow panelists. In terms of cost, it actually depends. There is no one-size-fits-all for this solution. It depends on how big is the customer, what do they want to do. In the course of my presentation, you will see how we use the staircase approach to address our customers' need. So depending on where the customer is at a certain point in time, it determines what we give to them, and that equally determines the cost. Of course, cost is very paramount, and we are aware of that. But in doing that, we will make sure that the customer that we are servicing sees value first. So, for instance, NetSuite is licensed in 3 categories. There is the user licenses, then there is the models. Depending on which industry, which business you are into, determines what model that we sell to you or that we solution for you. Then the number of users that you want to put on the platform. Then the training and the development, test and development environments, another part of licensing that we do. So depending on what each business, and of course, each business is quite peculiar to itself. So cost is not something that we have a standard in terms of this is what it costs for medium size, this is what it costs for small businesses. But of course, I'm available, you are available, you are our partner. We can always navigate that cost conversation with any of our customers. And for your information, we have never lost a customer because of cost. We're always willing to work with the customer according to their budget. I don't know if Magnus is still there. I can't see him anymore, so I will proceed.
Yes, I'm here, so continue. I'm here.
Okay. Permit me to share my screen. Okay. So thank you once again for being part of this webinar, and welcome once again. So let's see, why I wanted to conduct the survey is that I wanted to find out what number of people have heard of NetSuite before today. So NetSuite is a cloud-based ERP solution from the stables of Oracle. I know everybody have heard Oracle in one way or the other. Oracle is a brand name, it's a family name. So NetSuite started operation in 1998, and in 2016, Oracle wholly acquired NetSuite. So we are serving from startups, going back to the question that was asked before, about the size of the businesses that we service, from startups, like I mentioned, one-man business, to global enterprises. And we have customers across these industry verticals and across these different kinds of customers. We are #1 cloud ERP solution. This is not exaggeration. This is not a boast. This is a fact. We are the first. NetSuite is the first cloud ERP solution in the entire world. We started all in the cloud. We are built on the cloud, and our customers, all our customers are leveraging our solution from.
Sorry, Emmanuel, can I just interject you? Can I run the post for you now?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So just launch it now.
Okay.
So allow like 10 seconds. Our panelists are also encouraged to share their comments as well.
Okay. Because I would really like to see the number of people that have heard of NetSuite before today.
Yeah.
So that we can be able to differentiate it from Oracle and what we're doing in NetSuite.
So allow another 10 seconds. or rather just make it 1 minute so that we get more responses.
Okay.
Okay, so post end. So we've got 59% of our attendees saying yes, they've heard the name NetSuite. Then we've got 1% of everyone on this platform saying they've not heard. So chances are that NetSuite need to do more investment in terms of marketing.
Yeah, that's even encouraging. I'm surprised that we have that that percentage.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good.
All
okay,
right.
Thank you very much, and thank you. I know my assumption is that everyone in this webinar already know about Oracle or have heard about Oracle before. So NetSuite is part of Oracle, but NetSuite is the cloud-based ERP. Of course, there are other ERP solutions from Oracle. We have the e-business suite, we have the Fusion, which is equally cloud-based, but different depending on the category of the industry of the organization and the industry. We determine which one is most appropriate for them. So in NetSuite, we are more, and we are. Okay, my slides are not moving properly. Yeah, okay, thank you. We are more in terms of the number of businesses that we've added on the platform. We are better comparatively across the competition. When I say competition, I mean there are a lot of competition. So the ones that are ranked alongside us, we are better. This is not me saying it. These are industry experts saying it, and independent analysts. And we are established. With the cloud of Oracle behind us, even though we've made our mark before the Oracle acquisition, but with Oracle again being part of the business, we are here to stay. We are not going anywhere soon. So if you're investing in NetSuite, you are rest assured that your investment is protected. So we have market challenges, and these challenges are the things that disable organizations from their growth path or their growth pattern. So in those organizations today have certain blind spots that they might not even be aware of, because they are not, from the onset, they are probably not aware of the different challenges that exist in their organization or in the industries. There could be a flawed revenue mix, which is where you are not quite sure what combination of your products that you can combine to throw into the market that will generate much more revenue. Then there is inefficiency business processes, whereby a lot of organizations today go by the manual way of doing business. It's not automated, it's not process-based. It's just pen and paper most times. And most cases, you see Excel and stuff like that, but no proper automation or proper business processes in place. There are competitions which you might not be aware of. Somebody might just open up a business or a shop. Let me take, for instance, you have a pharmacy shop at the end of the street, and before 2 days' time, you see another one opening up down the road. So competitions are always there. Then employee productivity, how do you track it? How do you, so for instance, I won't take organizations like Dangote because they are quite huge. I would take a small business that has their operations, for instance, in Nigeria, and they have their warehouses in Orile, Gomu, somewhere around that. So how do you track the operations? How do you manage the warehouse functionalities? How do you make sure that the things that goes into the warehouse are actually going in there? The things that leave the warehouse are actually living there. How do you control your inventory and all that? So these are the blind spots that businesses are not aware of most of the time. And of course, you come to the destabilizers of business. Certain things could happen, just like we are discussing now. Pandemic has come upon us. And I can bet you in sometime in December or even January, a lot of businesses are not aware that we are going to be in the situation we are in today. So a lot of them are not ready. Quite majority number of businesses are not ready for what we have seen ourselves as the new normal, just like Dr. Fowokan said. So when this happens, it becomes destabilizing to a lot of businesses. Economic changes. There is a whole lot of economic changes right now that we are dealing with, that businesses are dealing with, which we are not privy to before now. Before 3 months ago, 4 months ago, we are not privy to what is currently happening. There are localization gaps. Probably the services or products that you are offering is not actually conducive or detailed for the locality that you're offering it. Then there is forex volatility. How are businesses coping with exchange rates skyrocketing to 450, 500 naira per dollar? So these are challenges that businesses have to deal with every day. Then audits. How do you manage audits? Then taxes and tariffs. How do you make sure that you're compliant, that the tariffs that are being paid, that you are compliant with them, so that you don't run on the other side of the government policies and stuff like that. So each business, every business more or less, handle or grasps with these challenges from time to time. And most businesses, what happens most times is that businesses measure their outcomes based on the top lines or the bottom lines. They are looking at revenue, they are looking at profit margins, they are looking at gross margin, they are looking at asset balance, and then expenses, liabilities, cash flows. So all these things are things that once the business look at it and they are trending, the trend is okay, they look at it and they're comfortable that, oh, this is wonderful, the business is doing well. But there will come a point in time where if the business do not do anything, it will come to a point where they might not be able to continue. They might be forced to shut down. They might be forced to go out of business. So there comes the inflection point. At that inflection point is where things like technology comes into play to turn around the tide for some businesses. For some other businesses which doesn't latch onto this, the tendency is that they will either shut down or just generally go out of business. So you have to keep sorry, I have a call coming in. I have to deal with that. Sorry about that. So for the inflection point, you have to manage the new engagement platforms, the new marketing channels, the corporate social responsibilities, virtualized workforce, which is one of the major things that are happening in most businesses today because of the pandemic. Then artificial intelligence comes into play. And again, yes, all these things, they are things that could force an organization to say, oh, we have to cut costs, we have to lay off some staff, we have to, generally see how our business can do better. So what COVID has done, what COVID-19 has done is that it has tested the ability and the functionality of every individual in the workforce. And just like Dr. Fowokan said, those that have been prepared, those that have been self-improving are the ones who will be standing at the end of it. Of course, nobody wishes that anybody should be laid off or anybody goes out of job, but the reality on ground is such that businesses will at some point in time take that decision, either to replace certain things with artificial intelligence. Mostly in the manufacturing industries, you see a lot of human being replaced by robots and machines. And then of course, virtual workforce. Is it necessary for me to, as a business, to rent an office space Or do I provision everybody to work from home, or 30% of the workforce to work from home, or 50% of the workforce to work from home, then the rest come to the office, or the rest, 10% is replaced by artificial intelligence. So these are the challenges that businesses will have to deal with at certain point in time. And how businesses handle this at this inflection point, it determines to a large extent the survival of that business. So, and so in NetSuite, there are 3 areas, or 3 what we call growth enablers that NetSuite will bring to bear on your business that we have used to make sure that this inflection point is handled properly. So what is the visibility that you have inside your business? What is the control that you have? What is the agility? So each and every of these points, this business growth enablers in the business is very key and very important. And depending on how organizations handle it, will determine their survival or their collapse. So for instance, visibility. Do you have insight into your business? What your business have done yesterday? What your business is doing today? What your business plan to tomorrow? Do you have insight into all this? How profitable have you been yesterday? How profitable are you currently? And how profitable do you plan to be tomorrow? So the kind of visibility that you see out of your business is what NetSuite will enable you to do. Being able to see, okay, 2 years now behind, I was this profitable. And then last year, I was this profitable. What happened? What changed? Being able to have visibility into your business will give you the tools that you need to make decisions, to make business decisions. And then control. So control is one of the most important aspects of every business. So it's usually said that lack of control is the greatest threat to the growth of any business. If you don't have control of your business, if you're not sure what is happening at any point in time in your business, it will be very difficult for you to manage it. I mean, as a CEO, you could be traveling to America today, you could be in London tomorrow, you could be in Singapore next tomorrow. What happens to your business as you move around? Of course, you have people that you have appointed to different roles in the organization. How are you sure that the things that needs to be done are being done? So for instance, the warehouse manager that I mentioned before, how are you controlling the inventory in the warehouse? With solutions such as NetSuite, you could be able to, wherever you sit in the world, with the access of, with the availability of the internet, you will be able to access your business, be it on your device, be it on your cell phone, on your smartphone, or be it on a computer. You will be able to see how is your business doing. There are different reports that Daniel showed at the beginning of the session. Those reports are real time. They are actually how your business are doing in that particular time. So it's not an old data that is being pulled, that is being analyzed. It's real-time data that are being analyzed. So if, for instance, an inventory item is taken off a shelf, automatically by following the process, you will see that inventory has been depleted. And of course, we have things like reorder points, automatic reorder points that will prompt you that this has happened. So you have to go back and make the requisition for reorder. So the control in your business is very key for you to be able to manage your business properly. And what gives you this control? A business process system, automation of your business gives you this control. Then we move on to agility. What is agility? Agility is being able to navigate the different challenges that comes up in your business. So for instance, I was mentioning in the previous slide that, that you could have You could have blind spots in your business. These are hidden threats that could prevent you from truly seeing the trends that hamper your growth in your business. So your ability to be able to see these, hidden threats is what will determine the extent to which your business survives. So is something happening that you're not aware of and you need to take a decision? Of course, if you're not aware of it, there is no way you can take that decision. Just like Dr. mentioned earlier, I love that phrase, by the way. You can't measure what you don't see. So if you don't know about it, how do you measure it? And how do you measure the impact of what has happened on your business? You will not be able to measure the impact, but with a solution, a proper solution as NetSuite, you will be able to be agile in your business. You will be able to see every impact and every action on the business has on the outcome. Your growth, your profits, are they growing? Your margins, are they growing? How well are you doing compared to your competition? These are things that will make you take the proper and right decision at every point in time. Having visibility into your business processes, you will be able to decide at the snap of a finger, this is the way the business is going to go, because already you have data, and these are real data and they are facts. So you're not making your decision in the dark. You're making your decisions knowing fully well that this is what happened, and if I apply this is the outcome that I'm going to get. So predictability comes in, and that's how businesses will survive. We have quite a number of businesses, just like Daniel mentioned before, across industry verticals, across different sizes, in every part of the world. The good thing is that NetSuite is cloud-based. I know that a lot of, mostly, I don't know what the policies, what the data retention policies for the government is currently, but that has been changing. Right from my time in Microsoft, where I was handling the public sector in the Nigerian space, I know what the policy was then, and I know the effort that we made to begin to change the thinking. We are not saying put critical data on the cloud. We are saying the basic things that will enable you, that will give you the enablement in your business, that you can access easily, put it on the cloud. And the cloud, the security, and I think Daniel mentioned something around the security of the data centers in his presentation. They are top notch. I mean, check. Oracle has one of the highest grade of data centers across the world. So wherever your business is, wherever you are at any point in time, you will be able to assess what is happening in your business, and you'll be able to see, oh, I need to make this decision, I need to do this, or this employee is not doing, his productivity is not optimum. How do I optimize it? Do I have a need to still keep him there? Do I need to do something to make the profitability go up? So these are the things that most of the customers that we have today has been able to achieve using NetSuite solution. And I mean, we have proof, we have customer testimonials to back that up. So coming back to, I will take a little bit time to answer the question that somebody asked about if you're a small business, if you're an SME, do our solutions support you? So there is something we call Stairway. We jokingly call it Stairway to Heaven, because actually by the time you get to the top of it, it's like utopia in business. So no matter, depending on where your business is at any point in time, we're able to provide enablers that will help you at that point in time. Are you a startup? Are you mid-size? Are you an enterprise? We will be able to solution NetSuite to fit into your business processes and give you value, measurable value that you can see. So the starting point is the basic things like financials, doing your financials, cash management, general ledger, and all that. Then order management, inventory, customer relationship management, BI, business intelligence, very important, very key in any business. That's why it's there from the beginning. So that any business, be you a startup, be you a one-man business, be you an enterprise, you'll be able to have insight into your business, be able to know what's happening at any point in time in your business. Then you move up, you're able to expand. You're able to bring in things like e-commerce if you want to sell. I mean, every business you want to sell, but depending on the kind of business that you do and the product that you sell, will you be able to commoditize it on the internet? If that's the case, we're able to support that. Being able to put you on the web, being able to put your product on the internet, and everybody will be able to access it. So moving on, the supply chain management, the automation of supply chain, very important, because when you have 10 warehouses, 20 warehouses, the Dangote, how do you put a check on each and every point? Being able to manage your supply chain using warehouse management, using barcoding, using serialized inventory and all that, will make it possible for you to have a handhold, have that control over your business, being able to know at any point in time what's happening to this business, being able to know, oh, I'm running out of this product, I need to replenish, being able to know, oh, my inventory has gone down, being able to know my supplier is somewhere in Okene and is going to supply something in Meduguri. How long is it going to take him to get there, come back, make the supply? You will be able to have a handhold on all this. And with the situation we are in today, which I will call, which we have all called the new normal, it's not going to go away very soon. We are going to be stuck with it for quite a bit, and we don't know. We'll just have to adapt to doing business that way. So being able to automate your supply chain will determine to a large extent where your business lands. Are you folding up? Are you continuing business? Then being able to do the enhancement, I mentioned the enhancement around warehouse management. We have a robust warehouse management system. Serialized inventory and barcoding will all help you to do that. Then the final destination, which when your business is at that point, it has transformed to a money spinning machine, more or less. You have business intelligence, you have market automation, you have your main focus is prices and margin management. So you sit, it's a well-oiled machine. You just sit at that point, and then you control the business using technology, using automation, using digital equipments and devices. That is where every business wants to be. Every business owner, every enterprise wants to be at this point where control is very easy and they have a good grasp of what is happening in the business. So, and that's what NetSuite is wishing for every business. That's why we say in NetSuite, businesses grow. This is the staircase to that growth. At any point in time, wherever your business is or where you see your business, we are there to support you 100%. And you do not have to dismantle anything. For instance, you are a small scale, you're afraid that you'll be growing to become a 5,000 employee company. How are you going to do your business processes? No, it's not going to change because NetSuite is very scalable from 1 man to 1,000 men. You can scale above 1,000 and beyond. You can scale, not dismantling anything that you have acquired, instead adding to it to make your business process more robust. So what features do we have in NetSuite? I could say the basic ERP features that every other ERP solution will have. Procurement, inventory, order management, production for manufacturing, warehouse management, supply chain management. And in each of these, so let me come back to something I mentioned before, how NetSuite is licensed. So these are different models that could be applied to solution for a company, depending on what business you are into. If you're a supply chain man, if you're a wholesale and distribution that will need supply chain, definitely you will need warehouse management, you will need inventory, probably procurement and the totality of the supply chain management. Things are put together to give you a full solution, as well as on CRM and project management. So in a nutshell, NetSuite is your business enabler. It's a solution from Oracle that could make your business only grow. And I hope that with the partnership with VM, we'll be able to reach out to more customers. We'll be able to provide solutions to more customers. We are here to support you. We are here to make your business grow. And partnership of VM and NetSuite, Oracle NetSuite, will be that tool that you need at that inflection point. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. And I can tell you for free that we're excited at the opportunity that NetSuite affords customers in Nigeria. So that partnership is something we want to cherish, nurture, and grow to the next level. For want of time, I quickly want to bring in Iho, to ask this question. Hello, Iho, can you hear us now? Can you unmute yourself?
My question is, when you were
sorry, Iho, so that I can correctly introduce you.
Iho
is the Assistant Director of Tax at the Lagos State Revenue. So go ahead, sir.
My madam is there, Titi Fowokan. she's my in tax.
She's my senior guy. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, all right. I'm so grateful for all the things that, all the lectures, but for the other guy, what's his name, Mike? Daniel.
Yeah,
the information looks too loaded that if at my level I cannot grab all of them, so how can it be broken down so that we can make it easier for the business person to really flow with? And again, yet does one really come in if I'm running a small business? I mean, for Michaelson, Emmanuel was okay.
Okay, so just to put it in perspective for you, and I know you continue to follow activities. We will be sending out a link of today's recording, and there will also be a short key takeaway work on and share with our attendees. And if there are specific that you actually need, we encourage you. I mean, we have our contact details. We encourage you to interact with us and obtain them, and can take it forward. Emmanuel, you may need to stop the next slide. So Emmanuel and Daniel, maybe at the end of this session, please kindly provide us copies of your slides so that we can share that with our attendees. I want to quickly run so that I can be sure that my salary will be paid. And I know Vivian is coming up to help us wrap up. Because I can't run a code for Oracle if people know Oracle, and I don't run a code if people know them. What does happen is at the end of the day, Vivian will not pay me. So guys, please, attendees, we're launching this poll. Let's hear your views. And we'll take it for just 30 seconds, please. Wow. Interesting. 10 more seconds to meet my 30 seconds. 7, 5. So click the button, guys. Click the button, guys. All right, so we're done. So Vivian, and I know you're coming up now to help summarize for 3 to 5 minutes the discussions from all the panelists. What I've tried to do in each of the panelist session was to just give tips and bits. So you can help bring all of this conclusion. So one of the things we've also done is to run a poll and to ask if our attendees have heard about VM professional solutions throughout the webinar. And the result is that 63% have not heard about VM and 38% have heard about VM. So I leave it to you to pick up now. Thank you, Vivian.
Okay, thank you, Magnus. Thank you so much, Dr. My madam, I don't know about people that I know, and Daniel and Emmanuel for those insightful discussions and the generosity with which you shared your experiences. So for me, the key takeaways are like, okay, first of all, I know that technology is an area that people are afraid of, but it doesn't make it difficult. It doesn't mean that technology is difficult. It's just like using a phone or a calculator. Once you get used to it, at first you'll be afraid of it. You'll be afraid of all the technologies, all the terminology, sorry. Just like when IFRS came out, many of us, the terminologies were so complicated, but when you really understand what they're talking about, somebody like me will be like, oh, is this what they're saying? So why did they just say it this way? This is what it means in simple terms. So that's technology for you. So if you're like me, like 7 or 10 years ago, I didn't know much about technology, and you don't even know where to start from, you can always send an email to clients@vm.com, and we volunteer. This is part of the program to help people, and it's for free. So we will help you for free. We'll give you some insights on, okay, some pointers. This is where you go. This is where you start. Okay, because we've done a lot of technology ourselves. Then when it comes to, this whole COVID-19 issue, what are the challenges for businesses, especially large businesses and supply chains? The first challenge is how to coordinate everything. The second challenge is how to make sure that there is a product to sell and is available to the customer. The third challenge is how to sell, because many customers' preferences changed tremendously. So these are the 3 challenges that I see that our speakers have already, given solutions to. First of all, Oracle NetSuite, it focuses on user roles. So in addition to giving you the numbers and visibility and control over the entire business, you now have user roles. If you are a CEO, you have your own KPIs on your dashboard. You have your own views. You have the reports. It's just like teaching somebody how to work. This is your work. You don't need to go and start learning. And it's business process optimization built into the system for you. So when you're buying it, you buy a total package. So if you're a CFO, this is what you should do as a CFO. So for people who find it difficult to coordinate their employees in different places, NetSuite is on cloud, is accessible. And then you don't need to stress, because your employees will log into their dashboard and they will see exactly what they are meant to do, their KPIs, their reports, their financials, what they are doing right or wrong. So it brings like the system and the people together in one place and in a simple way that everybody can navigate it. So that's wonderful. It also helps you to train the employees. So employees already, employee training is automated on a daily basis. That's so beautiful. And that solves a lot of problems for large businesses now. So, and another thing that I like is the customer focus. Last week, we learned about knowing your customer. The 3 speakers, they were pointing on know your customer, have their data, their statistics, where are they, what are their preferences, what are their behavior changes? Those customer behaviors have changed all through this pandemic. So, but NetSuite has a dashboard for you to see all those things, the numbers, the locations of customers, their preferences, their communications. In fact, that's customer data for you to be able to enhance on your product and service delivery on an ongoing real-time basis. So, I don't see that. That's so nice. That's so wonderful. And the same thing goes for supplies. So you see your supply chain and how it's going, how materials are coming in, how products are coming in, what was the reorder level, and in fact, beautiful. So Oracle NetSuite, large businesses, small businesses, medium, here is a solution for you to help you navigate the COVID-19. So doctor's presentation talked about also the same thing, managing everything seamlessly, from the point of procurement of raw materials to manufacturing to making sure the goods are available to everybody and everywhere. That's distributors, customers, online, offline. So those are the challenges. And when she's talking about managing the supply chain, she's also talking about managing the government, managing regulations here and there. So technology can actually help you, to put your team and systems together, but there are some things that are still out of control, but technology is the main enabler from what she's talking about. And then she also points to e-commerce, selling online, which we also learned last week. The company that spoke last week, Help Plus, they made 1,000+% in revenue growth just by doing more of e-commerce during this pandemic. So you can see that everyone has to learn technology one way or the other. So develop yourself, TEF said it, learn more about technology tools, but best of all, don't fear about technology. So something to also talk about from my own perspective is the tax management. I don't know if it's overflogged, but something that large businesses need to be concerned about is tax from the perspective of the business, value-added tax, employees. A lot of regulations are also, because even the tax authorities are, should I say, hustling to also make their own revenues, just like every business. So one needs to be up to scratch. Your systems, if you're using ERP like NetSuite, it needs to, and he already has that provision for you to set things up. Tax accounting, tax compliance, you have to be on top of it so you don't accrue more penalties. So I don't know, Magnus is the host. I don't know if I can talk about the tax law book app that since we have our colleagues here from CITN and,
yes, you can talk about the tax law book app, but let me
okay.
take a question from Rita and another comment from Daniel. Then as we wrap up, because again, we've just got about 14 minutes to wrap up, then you can then talk about tax law book app. And I agree completely. It's a very important platform for us to talk about the tax law book app and show it to the stakeholders at the Chartered Institute of Taxation. So Rita, if you're there, you've been admitted into the room. So can you unmute your mic? Rita Apoguma, you did raise your hand that you have a question. So you can go ahead with your question now, Rita.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you for this wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
One of my questions is that, can this software be used for service rendering business? Then another one is that, if one purchases the software from NetSuite, will they be on the staff training and after sales services? Those are the two questions I want to ask. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Rita. And before I let the owners of the software talk, I will talk as a business partner to the software. Yes, the software can be customized to meet your service business needs. We just need to be able to conduct a needs analysis of the various supply chain, because we're talking about supply chain, or the various functions or silos in your business that you want to automate, and we then pull it together. In terms of after sales and training, yes, after sales and training services will be rendered, and that will be done by us. If you are purchasing the software, I would encourage you to get in touch with us. I'll still post the VM website and our contact details. And in my last slide, you see our relevant contact details so that you can pick up information. So it's yes to both of your answers, and there's a lot more benefit from you buying through us into Oracle, because the reality is, if you go to Oracle, they probably send you back to us. So you just come to us, we walk through you, you get a far more better discount partnering with us to purchase your software, and we can then work with you to make sure that that software is up and running in your business. Daniel, you did say you have 2 additional sentences you want to make just to water your presentation. So not water, but wet your presentation. So go ahead.
Yep. So basically, what I wanted to do is just a quick final point on my listing slides, which I forgot. One is about the customers, right? So the customers who are using our solutions, you might typically ask the legacy applications and the other cloud solutions, what is the time frame of an implementation? So you have 60% faster deployment time in NetSuite, right? Implementation costs are less, and more, this is in terms of the kind of best practices which we have in place. The most important point which I wanted to emphasize over here is, for most of our customers, this is the last ERP solution you would ever buy, because this solution will help you to scale up from a kind of a small business to mid business to an enterprise level. Or if you are at a mid level, you go into an enterprise using our application. 90% of our customers are immediately referenceable, and plus, more importantly, 98% of our customers, they retain the application. And one interesting fact, if you go into US, the last 5 to 10 years, 9 on 10 IPO companies, they use NetSuite for their going to public, right? So that is one of the important facts. Like if you want to go and become an enterprise company, or you want to list yourself in the stock market and you want to have a complete insights on your business, this is the solution which will help you do that.
So just keep that slide on. I've got 1 or 2 comments to make while Daniel is putting that slide back for me, so that I can help re-echo. Because you still, with due respect, we need to speak in the acceptable language locally. So while our audience are listening to me, I want to run another poll, so you can please do respond to that poll. So what Emmanuel, what Daniel has said basically is that go live is from when the financial investment is made to buy the software, and when you begin to enjoy returns on investment, meaning you're now using your software, everything, the implementation has been completed and sign-off has been done. It's 60% faster, because at Oracle, they've got the necessary support to be able to take on information from a legacy system into an Oracle NetSuite environment. So 90% of the time, you're able to get referenceable sites. You're able to get people in a similar industry, similar size, in your location or in any similar location that is already using this solution. And importantly, implementation costs are slightly less. And Oracle will work with you all the way. I think those are the things I wanted to put in there. And thanks, guys, for submitting your responses to this question. We've got 100% where people are saying they would recommend VM Professional Solutions to someone else. So somebody have just said 1. It's okay. It's fine. All well that ends well. So Vivian, I think I'll come back to you now, so that we can work our way back, because we've got 8 minutes to wrap up. I know the tax law book video is for just about 2 minutes. So if you could just take a total of 3 minutes, talk to us about tax law book, the video, and let's wrap up so that we can quietly let people get back to their other activities.
Okay, thank you, Magnus. So tax law book, can you stop sharing screen so I can share?
Emmanuel, you need to stop share, please. Daniel, stop share.
No.
I can share. So it's a compendium of the tax laws and regulations. So one thing about it is been updated. The laws have been updated with the changes in the Finance Act. There are other apps on the stores, but this one has been updated, and there are some very useful documents inside of it. You have documents about transfer pricing, you have about automatic exchange of information, you have tax treaties, you have a whole lot inside of it, and then the laws itself have been updated with changes in the Finance Act. So I'll just play a small demo video. This is for our CITN members and Suite members in case you need something handy to do your tax. And then for large enterprises who have tax functions in-house, you will need this tax law app. It's available on Google and iOS stores. So just 2 minutes to play this video. Thank you. The demo. Okay, thank you. So the tax law book is free to download for many of the stores, but if you want to access the tax laws, you have to purchase it for 7,200 only. We're also working with the developer to add more features to the tax law book, and by then the price might go up. So if you're yet to purchase the tax laws in the tax law book, you might as well do it now before the prices go up, maybe in a month's time. So I will have to sign out here, and I thank everyone, especially our panelists, and then all the attendees for signing up. We will have a recording of this webinar on YouTube in due course, and then by next week, we hope to see you again by next week on going digital manufacturing. So we'll do it properly. The Director General, the Acting Director General of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria is also coming on board. NetSuite is coming, and Professor Ekekwe, who developed a solution for the US government to purchase. He's a Nigerian too, he's coming on board. So hope to see you then. And thank you once again. I yield to Magnus to close up. Thank you guys. Have a good day, bye.
Thank you, Vivian. Thank you, everyone. So with that, we gradually come to the end of the webinar, and I'll just like to walk through my panelists once again so that they can conclude any final words, any closing words, or conclusions they would like to give to our audience. 1 minute each for each of the panelists, and I would like to take Madam Fowokan first, please. Madam.
Thank you, Magnus. My parting word will be to tell everyone that, well, the Dangote story is what I will tell anywhere I go, and that we're in business to be at your beck and call. We're ready to put the food at your table. We're into the food business. So as you think along the IT has supported us, and we're ready to meet the customer's needs. So just make sure that any Dangote product you see is a product for you to pick up. Thank you very much.
I can tell you that anybody in Nigeria that is not patronizing Dangote will need to collect the person's citizenship back. Thank you so much, Madam Fowokan, for being here with us. Emmanuel, closing words. You're on mute.
Okay, yeah. Thank you everyone for staying along with us, for being here with us all this time, all this while. I will reiterate that visibility, control, and agility is the rock base of every business. And I will encourage you to make sure that you have visibility into your business, that you have control at every point in time, and that the agility that comes out of this tool will help your business to succeed. And NetSuite is there to help you to grow your business. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before I bring in Daniel, I just need to respond to 2 questions. Nuruddin Abiodun, the cost of downloading the tax law book from Android or iOS store is free. But for you to activate the tax law itself when you've downloaded, there is an in-app purchase of 7,200. It's a one-time payment only. So on each device. So if you've downloaded on one phone, it's a one-time payment. It's not something that you need to pay again. Then still on that, you did say, and this is just a slight comment for Madam Fowokan. It says, can people do without Dangote in Nigeria? So that's really these parting words to you. So Daniel, Daniel, your closing words.
So Magnus, for me, it would be NetSuite would be your last ERP solution, as I mentioned, and it will give you an entire visibility for the different roles, whether it's the CEO role, the CFO, purchasing, sales, your CRM, name it. You have visibility across, and it will be a single data source, which we want to emphasize again. You will move away from a hairball. You will move away from silos of applications and have one system manage entire business process. So in that way, you're having the real-time dashboards, integrated systems, and moreover, you have an automated controls for your period close and all your inventory management requirements, right? So that's it. Like, it will help you to scale up and reach your end goal.
Thank you so much, Daniel. And with that, we actually come to the end, and I would like to run my last poll. which is, do you need a website? So VM Professional Solution, you already know who we are, what we do. You want to get more information about us, please look at the poll. If you need a website, we have a relationship with a website firm, and we can customize a website for you with some additional added features. So if you need it, please respond to this poll. You can contact us via email, via our website, www.vi-m.com, our email, client@vi-m.com. You know, the relevant phone numbers, 0817-320-3657, then 0802-864-6609. On social media, we're active on Facebook, on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. On each of these social media handles, all you need to do is search for VI-M Professional Solutions, or search for Magnus, or search Magnus-Nmonwu, or search for Vivian, and you will be able to reach us. So with that, we want to thank our distinguished giant panelists for staying straight true to time, attending to us. I know a few of you was short notice, but yes, you did come up to support us. We also want to thank our huge audience that have attended the seminar webinar today. Let's keep it interactive. This is the 4th webinar of the 7th series webinar next week, and this webinar runs every Wednesday by 12 p.m. West Africa time. Next week we'll be going digital. Manufacturers, and Vivian has rightly pointed, we have the Director General of the Manufacturers Association and a few other individuals who are lined up to be our panelists. Let's tune in. Relevant reminders will be shared. The following week, we will also share the topic and the last topic. We want to thank you, everyone. Let's stay safe. Let's continue to adhere to instructions from the health ministries and the relevant government agencies. Apply social distancing, use your nose mask, and more importantly, wash your hands or use a sanitizer where available. Thank you, guys, and do have a nice day. Thank you, madam. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vivian.
Thank you, Magnus.
Thank you, Magnus. Thank you, Vivian. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.